Under the hat again? This time we'll talk about the Civil War storyteller painting.
Welcome back to Under a Hat, where I, John Poff, interview. Who are you again?
Oh, Sarah Poff.
Good afternoon, evening, morning, or
What'd
time
you
to
do
put
to
on
my
your
hat?
hat. Well, we need you under the hat to be
Again?
I figured I'd put it on bad where you could readjust your hair anyways, where it wasn't my fault and you could correct. we're back again, fans and family, as we dive into another bit of Sarah Poff's art. And we got another history one today, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Most are history, excellent.
Most are history.
The one behind me is what we'll be talking about today. So tell me a little bit about this piece of art.
This is the Civil War storyteller.
Okay, so it talks on its own.
It does. It has all these little venues around it that tell a story.
Okay.
If you know the story.
Yes.
Yes.
And as you're learning with the granddaughters, sometimes they're a little more interested than others, which is
Yes.
great. And having a piece of art that you can go through all the stories with is great. I think back to some Sunday school lessons that did this too.
Oh, I have to tell this story about,
yes.
Why we're doing this one this time.
Okay.
Is because I went to the Civil War Museum in Springfield, the Wilson Creek. We were donating some Major Poff's papers from the centennial of the battle at Wilson Creek. He was
Battle of the Wilson Creek was the Civil War battle?
It was.
Okay.
In Missouri.
Continue.
In Missouri. So we were down there, and I wanted to buy something for our granddaughters, and I did. But you know what I did is I bought Civil War candy. Here are some pictures of that museum that we went to in Republic, Missouri for the Wilson Creek Battlefield Museum. This is the candy I had waiting at the girls' spot at our house when they arrived.
Now, it was from the time frame of the Civil War.
Oh, no. It was little, it looked like little lead balls, and it was little powder, like black powder. Yeah. One of the granddaughters just pushed it to the side and didn't even open it. The other one opened it and tasted of it. And then she was sitting there thinking, Grandma, this reminds me of, where is that painting?
Yeah.
You know that painting about the Civil War? So we went and got the painting, and we talked a good little conversation about Civil War. Of course, her favorite part was Martha, which was my great grandmother. Martha lost her glasses in the well back in that time, and Martha's in the painting at the well.
Excellent. Well, and that's just it. It's fun to have all the stories compelled of. Since our family's been here for so long, we have aspects all over and different stories because of that, because the story's been told. And you, in a, we'll call it an art fever that we'll get to later, put them all down in a painting. So should we go through some of the big stories?
Oh, sure. Let's do that.
Okay. So I'll bring it forward and try to hold it. And you can point, and then
I can point.
I'll close it up, and then we can go from there.
Okay. Well.
So where do you want to start?
I'll just start over here and kind of go around.
Okay.
I discovered by going to the census records and the Civil War records about our ancestors that were fighting in the Civil War. So I've got, I think, all of them in here, most of them, and my husband and mine. And so I just wanted to remember those stories, so I just kind of put them down. So let's see. I said I was going to start here.
That's fine. You don't have
this one is, well, I have his grave site. Actually, I have him up here. I chased him around the world. Well, it seemed like the world, but he was just in Missouri and Indiana. And for 10 years, I was looking for this guy all over Missouri. He lived up in Gentry County, Missouri. But what he did is, he and his wife, as Civil War's beginning, they just got married. They were in their early 20s. And they went back to Indiana, where their people had come from. And they decided to see about the war, go over there, because all those raids were going on in Missouri, and they just didn't want to be part of those raids. So they went there. And so then John, we actually have his picture, which I'll see if I can slip that in somewhere in this video. This is John Schaefer's tintype, and yes, that's a piece of his hair right there. And he and his wife went back there. She was expecting the baby, and so as soon as the baby was born, he went on, and now he's an Indiana soldier. So I've been looking for a Missouri soldier, not Indiana. So now he's an Indiana guy. And he wrote a letter back. I actually found another descendant who had a copy of his letter, and we have a copy of that letter. And it's a real sweet letter. One of the last sentences said, "I can't wait to get home and see my sweet baby, Sarepta." My sweet baby, Sarepta. Well, that's my husband's great-grandmother. So that like tells you the lineage of the family there, and he never made it home. He died. Now, what happened to him is, that's why this is down here, is he's trying to escape the Raiders. That's why he left Missouri. So he's
Raiders. For those of you who don't know what Raiders.
Oh, like Quantrill, Jesse James. You've heard of those guys. So they were on the Confederate side, and they were out to raid anybody that was Union. And so the Raiders were after him, and he joined up. He's on the Union. He joined up. And he was down in Arkansas on the White River on his boat. So he's on a boat by a river right there. And guess what happened?
No.
They got him.
Okay.
They actually were on the land, and he was on the boat. They shot from the land, were able to kill a bunch of guys on that boat with him. So there's his tombstone. Now, he actually was buried in Memphis, Tennessee. And my husband and I lived when you were actually born down in that area, down in southeast Missouri. And we actually would go to visit my relatives when you were a baby, a little older than that, and a few times during the years. And we could have gone to that gravesite if we'd only known. But it took us so long to find him that we didn't know in time. So maybe someday I'll make it back to Memphis and I can go.
Under the Hat, somewhere in Colorado. See you next time.